All right, if I could have your attention, please. We will call this meeting to order. I want to welcome everybody that's here. Let's begin with our invocation and our pledge. If you'll stand with me, please. Invocation, just pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Used to my other meeting where we do both. So thank you. I wish everyone a Merry Christmas and a happy holiday season. To you and your families and your constituents and all the above. Have a wonderful, wonderful holiday. We do have a quorum and we do have a couple of new folks I want to introduce, 2 new board members. We have Dean McKay with us. Dean, I've known for years through the workforce program. Welcome as a board member. And we have Nick Hendricks, Nick's first meeting. He is a Boone County appointment. Caroline Weltzer, who has been a Boone County appointment, has moved out of the county, moved to Fort Mitchell. And so we needed to replace her. She stepped aside. And Nick was willing to serve and been on our radar for some time. Welcome aboard. Our guests that are with us today, would you like to introduce your guests?
Yes, I would. This is my mother, so it's Take Your Mom to Work Day. And I'm very proud to tell you that her name is Eula Stevenson and she turned 99 the night before Thanksgiving.
Oh.
That's great.
Wonderful. Welcome.
Yeah.
Thank
Let's see see our yeah. Go ahead.
Judge, if you don't mind, I'd like to introduce Nick Eads. Nick, we just hired him in the city of Erlanger. He is the Assistant City Administrator and Economic Development Director. So he's tagging along with me today.
Welcome, Nick. Thank you. Yes. And I see Angie and I see all of our federal reps and our governor reps. Anyone I'm missing or anyone? Anything? All right, we'll move on into the agenda. First up is the approval of the agenda.
I'll make that motion, Judge. John Lee?
Yes, George. Any discussion changes to the agenda? Hearing none, all in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Agenda is approved. Next up, the approval of the minutes. These were for our October meeting. Hopefully you've had a chance to review those. I entertain a motion for approval.
So moved, Judge.
For a second.
Second.
All right, we have a motion and a second to approve the minutes. Are there any changes or corrections to the minute? Hearing none, all in favor, aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Minutes are approved. Moving into administrative, next up, we have the ethics report. And Joe Cottingham's going to report on this. Joe?
He's not here, but he told me yesterday he did not have a report.
All right, very good. No action required then. Audit report. We do have our auditor with us today and Dan.
Yes.
Yeah. Yep. All right. Daniel, introduce yourself and who you're with and the floor is yours.
All right. Good morning. My name is Daniel DeMonte. I'm an insurance manager with Barnes Dennig. With the audit with the ad agency and met with the executive committee before this and gave a presentation. This is that same presentation. I'm just gonna kind of hit the highlights. So we were engaged to do an audit of the financial statements for the ad agency, which includes a single audit, which looks at federal funding to make sure that things are in compliance and internal controls are appropriate. Go ahead, another one. So we do plan to issue an unmodified or clean opinion on both the financial statements and the single audit of our major programs, and that is the best opinion you can get. We received excellent cooperation from the staff. No disagreements or difficulties encountered during the audit, and no consultations with other accountants to indicate that. There was an adoption of a new GASB standard, accounting standard, in absences. It was not a material impact to the financial statements of the ad agency. No internal control matters reportable. We're not aware of any matters related to fraud or illegal acts, although this was not a fraud audit, but if we were on something, we would communicate that. And then we did have a proposed or past audit adjustment during the year. Basically what that means is it's not posted to the financial statements, but management assessed an impact related to the new GASB standard being implemented. And that totaled to $78,000, which in the grand scheme of the total financial statements is pretty immaterial. So management decided to pass on it. We're okay with that because it is a relatively small amount. Would have increased liabilities by $78,000 and expenses by $78,000. So that was really the only change that may have actually occurred. Next couple slides, I have some trend information. As you can see, assets and deferred outflows are increasing steadily over the past couple of years. And your net position is steadily increasing over the years, which indicates revenues exceeding expenditures for the year. And you can see again, increasing year over year, big increase from 24 to 25, mainly related to the CDO program, changes to the rates that were being reimbursed, which also increases the expenses at the same time. And then we like to show the general fund as well, as it is the main fund for the ad agency. Similar kind of trends here, assets increasing over time along with their fund balance. Liabilities can fluctuate year over year, depending on what's outstanding at the end of the year. And then on the next page, we have revenues over expenses for the general fund, and similar kind of trend for the same reasons, the Medicaid or the CDO program increases in 2025. That is all I had. If there are any questions I can address, yeah.
On that GASB change for absence.
Yeah.
Is that going to be an issue, same issue going forward? Or is that being corrected going forward?
I think the discussion was based on how the workload was conducted for this audit. There was, an analysis made. Management made that, estimate of the 78,000. I think going forward that will be posted, just with the audit draft, kind of further along in the stages, with a small enough impact.
We just are going to pass this year, but we'll definitely incorporate it into our other processes moving forward.
I know it's kind of a number all the time.
Yeah.
Something that at the end of the year is something important that people see that liability.
Correct.
Can you define push groups?
But this GASB item is something we'll be seeing in our cities and counties as well. So hearing more about.
And just to be clear about this, we're not talking about a snapshot in time for the revenue over expenses. We're talking about a 20-year period. So this is pretty much the average where revenues have starting to separate from expenses and become even healthier, right?
Yeah, the graphs were 5-year period of 2021 to 2025.
The executive committee did get a more detailed report from Daniel and went into more depth than you're seeing here. So we have reviewed it and feel comfortable with the audit report. Other discussion? Questions? Do I hear a motion to accept the audit as presented?
Motion.
Bill, is there a second? Second. Further discussion? Anything else to add?
Thank you for your
All
time.
in favor of accepting and improving the audit, say aye. It is approved. Thank you. Thank you. All right, next up, financial reports today. Tara's going to be giving us the financials.
Afternoon. Thank you for everyone for being here today. You did have in your packet a compilation for both September and October, just a consolidated report. But I was able to make you a more fancy looking page that was in your handout at your seat, to have just some overview like you're more accustomed to seeing. I will take this moment to let you know that we are coming along in our search for a new finance director. So I will not be the one giving this presentation moving forward for much longer. And that's going well. So hopefully we'll be able to wrap that up in the next week or two. So anyway, back to I'm just going to focus on the handout that was at your seat. These are numbers, again, in your packet, you had both September and October. I'm just going to focus on the October unless you have questions. As of October 31st, which would be completing 33% of the fiscal year, we had revenue of $19.2 million, which would be 39% of expected revenues. So we're pretty much on track, a little extra than maybe what we would have been expecting by this time of year. Just like normal, the bulk of funding is from the state level, followed by federal. The carryover is going to have represented a mix of carryover from eligible activities from the previous year. But in terms of new revenue, definitely state and then federal followed by local. As far as just kind of like snapshot of how we're looking, Clay, if you just know what it, yeah, that's perfect. So these on my screen, those look green. Just saying that now they don't really look as green. Green is supposed to be good. So cash balance is up from last year. Accounts receivable is down from last year. We're getting things paid even faster. Some new staff have been able to increase our efficiency on getting bills paid and then back in the door. So that's a good thing. Accounts payable balance is down. And then interest earned is down. I will just note that is because of the interest rate changes as well as some of the requirements on our bank account with stockyards to have a certain amount in like collateral. We have had some meetings with Brittany, our board treasurer, with stockyards to start having conversations about maybe getting those interest rates higher. And we intend to have that continue with the executive committee next month to see what we can do about increasing our interest rates. So stay tuned for more information about that. Does anybody have any? Clay, can you switch to the other document that shows the consolidated activity? Yeah. Is that the October one? Yeah, perfect. So just to show you just briefly on these numbers. So year to date, total revenues 19.2, just like it says in the other sheet. And then revenue, or I'm sorry, expenses, just over 15 million. So we're looking good there. Does anybody have any questions? Yes, Pat.
What is their interest rate? On business?
You know what? I thought I put that on there, but I didn't. 2.74%. It used to be, yeah, 2.74. That sounds right. We can get that to you. We'll put that on the sheet next month. I think it normally is on the sheet, but again, I made the sheet.
Last month at our executive committee, we briefly discussed looking at other products, but we want to get our finance person on board and kind of work through that person. But there, I think, are some tools. We've implemented some things at the county level. I think there's ways to better utilize our assets for interest earnings.
What's the county getting these days?
Actually, it's a variety of rates because the new program actually stacks short-term and long-term. But we've tenfolded our previous interest earnings from 10X. It's been amazing.
Great.
So that's one of the tools we'll look at. Yep. Other discussion? All right, do I hear a motion to approve the financials as presented?
So moved.
Motion made, Pat. Second back here. Other discussion? All in favor, aye. All opposed? Motion passes. Payment, number 9 there.
Thank you. As you may know, our administrative regulations require us to bring to you any expenses exceeding $40,000. We do use the firm Bramble and Ackley to help us with the closeout of the fiscal year and prepare for the audit. This year, you probably will see a little bit higher expenses from Bramble and Ackley, given the transition with the finance director role. Glad to see that we were able to get a clean audit with helping them, get everything in order. So bringing you today, we go through a procurement process to use Bramble and Ackley. We just went through that this year in advance of the closeout. So, I think it's good that we go through that from time to time. And so they did win that process by being the lowest bidder. But anyway, we have a bill for your review at the amount of $43,450 and requesting permission to pay that.
All right, what's the pleasure of the board? Do I hear a motion? Motion. Further discussion concerning requests for payment? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Item A is approved. And then item B.
Likewise, for large payments, for those that are not aware, we do own this building. We are paying for an expansion of the building that occurred, goodness, maybe 2015. Thank you. Looking at Lisa, 'cause I'm like, she would know. But anyway, we worked with the city of Florence as the bond holder on that bond. And so we they get to pay the bill, but then we pay the bill to continue on that bond. And so the bond is due for this year in the amount of $161,531.25. So just requesting approval by the board to make that check.
A motion to pay? Second. Maria? B. All right. Further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor, aye. All opposed? All right. Item B is approved. Thank you. Moving into programmatic, meal waiting list. I think we're going to get a report from Ann. Where do you want to start it?
I'm going to start it. I'll hand it over to Ann if she has anything to add. So as a reminder for those who were here at the October meeting, we were having a very different conversation just about fulfilling obligation for the fiscal year for those individuals receiving home delivered meals. Very grateful to the administration and to the General Assembly for working with us to make sure that everyone currently receiving a home delivered meal can still do that. And so if you want to flash back to all that, we're just going to let that sit. But if you want to recap, let me know, and we're happy to recap for you what all that was. But when we made that presentation about, the additional funds did allow us to serve everyone who's currently receiving a home delivered meal. But unfortunately, the demand continues to increase. And that demand is for a few reasons. One, people are aging, and as they get older, sometimes they have trouble preparing a meal on their own due to physical difficulty. This program is assessed eligibility based on ability, not necessarily income, though if someone of a certain income may be asked to pay a copay for that meal. But anyway, The other thing is that, the economy and different things like that, costs are rising. And so people, feel like maybe they need a little extra help. So, and everything, they might call that they need help, even though it's a physical issue, just because of cost. So we promised that when we made that presentation last month, that we would come to this board and give you an update on the waiting list, because unfortunately we have had to start a waiting list, and we wanted to make sure that you were very well aware. I just want to add before Ann starts on where we are with the waiting list, that we are working to partner with agencies across the region, such as St. Vincent de Paul in particular, that if a person has a need for food, maybe they can prepare the meal, but maybe they can't get out to get it, for example. Maybe they can't drive any longer, but they can stand and do meal prep. Groups like St. Vincent de Paul can provide assistance by physically bringing the food to the individual. We're also making sure that those individuals are getting signed up for the CSFP meal boxes. So we're doing things to try to mitigate the need in our communities, and I just wanted to make sure that everyone was aware of that. Ann, you want to go
Yes,
ahead?
absolutely. So a couple points, and then I'll go into the different graphs that we have that are included in your packet. As of today, and it's a few more than what is on the number on that first graph, persons on the waiting list. We have 236 on the waiting list as of today. We add people every day to the waiting list, and that graph was set a few days ago. Current average wait time is 93 days. That wait time will go up. Right now, we are not adding anyone new. We'll talk about attrition in just a minute. We are currently, Tara talked about what we're doing with St. Vincent de Paul. One of the things that myself and some of my staff are doing is we're doing an audit on the screenings of everyone on the list, looking at an in-depth look at their eligibility to see if they are possibly, if there are any indicators that show they may be possibly able to meal prep. And if that's the case, we're going to have a conversation with them, not a, you really need to do this. Is this something you possibly could do? And so we're working on that just to help with the list. So those are just things that we're doing. And then we had a individual call our Aging and Disability Resource Center yesterday. She is on the board for a faith-based organization who said, you know what? I think we can help with this. I think we can provide money. I think we can provide a grant. Who do I need to talk to? So my resource counselor gave me the information. I reached out to this person, and hopefully we'll be meeting soon to talk about additional things. So we always have our eyes and ears open to additional opportunities. So you can see here's the waiting list by county. Relatively proportional by county, but nobody on the list in Carroll County. So that could change at any moment. Just currently, there's not anyone in Carroll County that's in need, or that has been identified in need. That would probably be a better way of saying that. Let's go to the next waiting list, which is priority score. So probably your question is, what is priority score? So priority score is based on several things. And the great thing is it's calculated for us in our screening. So priority score is based on level of need, health and safety risk, functional status, which is their mobility and their cognitive ability, and their ability to manage household tasks and get around and do all those things. Social support, friends, family, caregivers, living alone or living with others. And then their vulnerability factors such as age, financial hardship, and limited access to things. So all that is taken into consideration, and essentially the higher the priority score, then the more they are at risk. So where that comes into factor is we have we take that into consideration when we're taking people off the waiting list. It's not the first thing we use, but it is the second thing we use. So if they've been on for a certain period of time, and that's a long period of time, we're going to take them off the list automatically. Then we go to priority score, because the premise behind that is those folks are in great need. And we have a lot of, we do have people that are in great need, as you can see from the graph. When you're looking at the graphs, anyone above a 30 is probably in really need of that meal, just by what we have looked at. Moving to graph 3, and this is the budget versus expended. The easiest way for me to explain this is we spend the budget in the order, we call it order of funds expended. So how that goes is the state requires us to spend in a particular order. So we start with ESMP, which stands for the Expanded Senior Meal Program. As you can see, we did not get a lot of ESMP money. That is gone. Then we go to federal. The reason why we go to federal, it's only a portion of federal. It's our federal carryover from last year. So we're going to spend that money, because if we don't spend the carryover money in this fiscal year, we'll lose that money. So we want to make sure and spend that. When we're done with the carryover, then we're going to go back to state funds. Then we'll go, once all of state funds are expended, we'll go back to the federal funds. So it's just efficient use of those funds, making sure, because in the end, if we have federal funds left over, we can carry them over to the next year. And then the NSIP is a funding reimbursement for raw food costs. So that is not factored into the order of funds, because that is a reimbursement that helps offset costs for our meal providers. Then the next graph is the percentage of funds spent through October. We should be at 33.3. We are currently at 37. I will tell you the gap was much larger at the beginning of the fiscal year. So we are seeing progress, and that progress is due to attrition, which is on the next graph. And as you can see, we are taking folks off the list, and then we're not adding people on. So we have taken some folks off.
You mean people that are not getting meals anymore?
Right, and they're not getting meals for very. Yes, we are. We are disenrolling people from the meal program for various number of reasons. Some people obviously sadly pass away. Some people go into a nursing facility. Some people just don't want the meals anymore. There are so many different reasons why a person goes off the meal program. Before all of the funding situation happened, whenever we took somebody off, that would give us a space available. Right now, we're not doing that until we get to that even point. And then we'll take another look at things and hopefully be able to add people on. But I will keep you updated on that. Are there any questions?
Questions?
Your limitations on what's having these lists, is it money, that you don't have enough money? Is it just the resources, you just can't add any more on, or?
Really the money.
Money, it is money. Plain and simple. So if you know of anywhere we could get some, we will take care of as many people that need meals. It's not the resources, it's the money.
And I've never done this, like, obviously experienced any of this, but is it how often do the meals come? Are they?
Great question. Wow. Thank you. So they get, so individuals who need meals get them 5 days a week. The majority of people, so way back in the day, and I've been doing this a long time, hot meals were the way to go, and people received a daily hot meal. It's very hard to do hot meals now for food safety concerns. And so now the standard type of meal someone receives is a chilled, ready to eat, or a frozen meal that can be simply prepared. And ready to serve. They meet the daily required intake for all the nutrients. They're approved by a dietitian, and they get 5 meals a week. So with that type of meal, they get 1 delivery a week. The meal driver comes out and delivers those meals, and they are set for a week. They get bread and milk along with that, and yeah.
What's the dollar number for the deficit that we have right now for providing meals? If we had to annualize that, what number are we looking at?
I don't have that number with me today, Pat, but I mean, it changes all the time.
What would you guess? I mean, just as an estimate.
We're not gonna guess.
I can't guess it right off the top of
Are we
my
talking about it?
my foggy head right now, but I will.
I mean, the agency has a substantial surplus. And a surplus is basically, it's something we could choose to spend that surplus on.
Well, okay, so the agency has different sources of funds that are allocated to different things. And so we do have some extra funds at the moment through Medicaid, but this board voted last month to pursue increasing some salaries to make enough room for the people that work here that are in that growing team. And so to remodel the back a little bit, so there's literally enough desks and so forth. So we don't necessarily have sufficient surplus for that amount that would be required. I mean, we're looking at hundreds of thousands of dollars.
I'd like to see what that annual deficit we have and what monies could be available if the board would choose to do it.
We will bring that next month.
Yeah, and know that number would be changing all the
I
time.
realize that. I realize.
It's not a stagnant number for sure. But yeah, we could do it approximate.
Yep.
Other discussion concerning the waiting list?
Yeah, just one follow-up question
Yes.
from Matt's line. What is, out of curiosity, what's the source of our meals? How do we source those meals?
Great question. We have 2 meal providers in our region. Our largest meal provider is Meals on Wheels of Southwest Ohio, Northern Kentucky. Their main facility is in Cincinnati. However, they do have a facility in Florence, which is kind of their staging areas for the Northern Kentucky region. They are a very large operation. They serve over 1 million meals a year. They're huge. They're actually expanding to a huge, they're building a new building. They're very, very big. Great organization to work with, and they do the majority of our meals. We do have an alternate because in my many years of doing this, we've always learned that never rely on one source for any of this stuff, or it could be disastrous. That is a national organization called Mom's Meals. They're out of Ankeny, Iowa, and they serve individuals all over the country. And they FedEx really nicely packaged fresh meals to individuals. And they are really great. And they're a great partner as well.
Thank you.
Other discussion? It says action required.
Oh, I think that was a misprint on my part.
Yeah, I don't think
We
we,
don't need to.
yeah, this was more of an update and a discussion item.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks.
All right. Next up, we have the e-clearinghouse.
Which I know you all love.
The,
We have 4 of them today. One is original one, which was the first one, Southeast Energy Resiliency Accelerator. This is out of Georgia Tech. It's really looking at the entire Southeast, and so that was the first one. Second one is a valve station in Dry Ridge with the city of Dry Ridge in Grant County. The fourth is the West Laconia water main and full lead service line replacement in Covington and Kent County. And the fourth one is Carrollton, Carroll County, the industrial consumer expansion treatment plant expansion and enhancement. It's also known as P you've seen this, the last one in Carroll County before, just going through the different additional funding sources to, it's a huge project. So, first of all, do you have any questions about the 4 different?
Questions on projects?
Again, would you like to vote on them all separately or as a group?
I'll make the motion to approve all.
I'll second it.
All right. To get the motion in this second.
It's second.
Who is that? Bill. 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 Okay. All right. Discussion on the 4 projects. Hearing none. All in favor of approving all 4, say aye. Opposed?
Also, we talk about.
Motion passed.
Oh, sorry. We talk about e-clearinghouse, and towards the end of that, you'll have a budget and the project view. And when we get those e-clearings in, I look at where that money's coming from. I will call that city or that county and say, hey, are you all paying this? Who's paying this amount? And then if it is locally funded, we will try to figure out if we qualify for the grant through the Cabinet for Economic Development. So it's just not, we just don't send them to you all the leads, but we do that extra step to see if we can help you all secure your portion of the funding that's required by whatever grant is applied for. Next, we just really wanted to give you all some information about Water Management Council and all the abbreviations that really are thrown out there, and they're very quick and you're like, who's that? So in your packet is really informational about what we do related to water and wastewater, our contract with KIA, what we do with Department of Water, what is related to the Public Service Commission, and then what the water districts and the municipal services systems do. The first page is really informative. We've been, Grace Herman, who's our management planner, created this, just be able to understand what it is. And we've taken it to couple different meetings. And we've been told it's one of the most useful information about water or wastewater in our state that we've seen, and really lays out the plan. So that's the first one. Your second one, second and third page really shows who serves, what utility serves our region. And so you see how they cross, some cross county lines, some are small, some are huge, some are water districts, and some are owned by cities. And so that. And then you also see on the water sewer one, just how little, how few places have sewer in our region. The next, sewer projects and water projects are expensive, especially sewer projects. It takes a lot to get all that treated and pumped where it needs to be. And one way those projects can be funded is through the state revolving loan fund. And to do that is the Water Council, very key part of that. We have county meetings. In the county meetings, we look at all the projects they are looking at building and doing in the future and projecting that they need. We figure out the priorities in the county, and those county lists then come to this. The funding sources is the state revolving loan fund, which there is a timeline. We start in June. You have that timeline in your packet. You also have the list of projects that are going up for total points. The the water project, that spreadsheet has the blue top, and the sewer projects have the orange top. This year, we overall submitted 23 projects for state revolving loan fund funding, 16 water, 7 sewer. There's been a few updates to that since we printed it, like budgets and maps and stuff like that. But it is a consistent project. They were due this week. And so 23 projects submitted is a huge increase for our region. We're very excited about that. And then again, you can see all those fun projects. Just so you know, blue is always water on these tables and orange is always sewer. That's what I've told. And then also we helped Falmouth and the city of Butler submit KY Waters project, which was again a funding source through the statewide budget. And we did that. So that is a brief summary of our Water Management Council. All the utilities sits on that, and 28 utilities in the region.
Katie Jo, I think we have a question or two. Judge Morrison.
Thank you. I just want to maybe make a statement that I attended, and I think some other folks in the room were at the recent Water and Sewer Council meeting we had maybe a couple of weeks ago. The room packed, a lot of municipal sewer departments, water departments, local leaders and state leaders. There's a lot of questions, you know, an enormous amount of personalities that you could expect. And differencing of opinions, but I think Katie Jo and her staff did a great job with running that meeting. So I want to sing your praise there. And more in particular, Grace Herman ran that meeting, and I meant to ask earlier, she's been with us, you know, a short time. But year and a half is probably a relative short time, but she's making a great impact. She handled some of those state, local, and other utilities very well, and I think represented what we're a part of. So you did.
I'll tell her mom this afternoon. I got a meeting with her mother this afternoon. So I'll tell her.
But great, there were some state legislatures that asked some tough questions that I don't know if I see any of them in here, but they should have known the answers to those questions. And they asked some questions, and Grace answered them very well. So
I appreciate that. I know Tara will say the same thing. We are very fortunate to have Grace here at the ADD. She contracted with us while she was at Westland getting her master's, and then she came on when Jeff Burke retired. So again, we are very grateful and blessed because I know enough about water and wastewater to be very dangerous, but she has it down. Yeah, about your water and wastewater. She'll be able to answer those.
Right. She did good.
Very passionate about it.
Other questions of what Katie Jo has reported so far? All right, you have more?
Thanks so much.
You finished? Okay. I thought I was interrupting you, but you were at the end.
Informative to anything.
All right. It says action required, but we really don't have any action items there, so we are good. Executive Director's Report. Tara?
Yes, sir. Katie Jo was faster than I expected. Sorry. Okay, I have a couple of things. First, Clay has up something that was in your packet that I just want to draw your attention to. I'm certainly not going to read this to you, but I really wanted to call out the members of our local government services and community development planning teams, because they have been working very hard on something that we kind of already were doing, but really taking it to the next level. And that is our JFA reports. And so JFA stands for the Joint Funding Administration. This is a combination of funds that come from the Commonwealth of Kentucky, as well as from the Federal Economic Development Administration. And this is a large bulk of the funding that funds things like tax rate calculations, starting of special studies, grant writing for communities, some of our planning work that we do, like that doesn't have another funding source. We're able to do that work and support your communities because of JFA. And forever, we've had JFA reports that we send into the CAP, actually Department of Local Government, each quarter. And when I started in this executive director role, I did talk to our liaison with DLG and kind of said, hey, what should these look like? Oh, whatever. Really, that's what she said. Whatever. Okay, well, we'll do our best then. And so we did our best, and it was pretty good. But we really, through the leadership of Casey Ellis at the Kentucky Council of ADDs, been trying to collaborate with our partner organizations at other area development districts and really be on the same aligned page with what are we reporting, so that when the General Assembly gets these reports, they actually look like something that you could compare from one area development district to the other. It's critical that we do that, and especially with an eye to the budget coming up, we want to be able to show our value, and a big part of that is communicating in a similar way with all the other area development districts. We also want you all to know what we're doing as well, of course. So there's just a brief overview that's in your packet of what this money is, where does it come from, what's the charge. We have a whole set of things that we do under JFA, all the technical assistance that we provide, writing community development block grants and other similar grants. As well as things like our EDA revolving loan fund, all fall under these categories. So Clay, if you want to scroll maybe, oh yeah, scroll a little bit first, just so I make sure I didn't miss anything. Yeah, so you can see like the different funding sources, all that stuff is in the packet. Now you can go to the next one. Okay, so also in your packet, you can see what kind of work we classify under JFA and then where we were doing it. So the colors are which county it happened in. If it was in a city in that county, then it's just under the county. So, if we did something, for example, in Carrollton, Mayor, it would fall under the Carroll County, just because otherwise there would be so many colors. And so you can see in your packet all those different things. So if you want to learn more, call me or call Katie Jo or call Chris, and we can kind of walk you through what those things are. And then if you go to the next one, Clay, yeah, so then you can see the breakdown, and I think it works out pretty well. Almost half, 47% of the work in this feature is regional, which makes sense because we're doing some regional work as a regional entity. And then the rest, the other half is divided out amongst the various communities. I would guess that if we did this for last year, the graph would change a little because people have, organizations, communities have different needs that come up. 2 years ago, I did a revenue study for Carroll County. Okay, well, that's done. So we're not going to do it again. The year before that, we did it for Gallatin County. So, these things come and go. These pie charts would change over time. But we have a new system called Monday.com that we are using as our project management software. So our team is now logging every single thing that they do. We used to get a phone call and we finish that phone call and then we just let it go and we put it on the JFA report. Now we're able to log all that into Monday.com and get reports and kind of track how are we doing for each community? Are we fulfilling all the needs that were requested? Sometimes the bulk of information that we get in the calls, unfortunately in the past, sometimes balls got dropped. So now we have Monday.com so that we can hopefully better ensure that we are responding to each and every request that we get, and of course in a timely manner as well. So I wanted you all to know that we're doing that on Monday, and then we are also then able to kind of put reports out at the end to say at an aggregate, how are we doing and what are we working on. So just wanted you to know that'll continue to grow over time. This is the first time that we've been able to export the reports. So over time, we anticipate that we'll have more details and more to share. But I'm really proud of the work that the team has put in, and I'm very excited that going into 2026, that we're going to be able to hopefully be even more responsive, focus on our customer service to our communities. Does anybody have any questions about that work?
Great data, great work here.
Tara, as you're logging all that into the new software, do you have metrics that you're trying to hit, or is this just to kind of establish?
So first, we really wanted a benchmark, right? How are we doing? What are we working on? I see it that we've heard from our communities, especially in our northern counties, that they want more, personnel policy support, public administration support, that kind of thing, especially in our smaller cities. We've heard from more of our southern counties, they really want more community development planning work, more grant writing, more assistance in that regard. And so that's really one of the reasons that was put into the strategic plan. That's how we ended up with pulling those two teams that were at one point one team apart, so that we can really have people that specialize in public administration, as well as folks that specialize in community development planning. This will be a great time to add, if you met him this earlier before this meeting, but we do have a new community development planner, Blake Madden. So if you didn't have a chance to meet him, I know he looked forward to meeting all of you. So he'll be doing, he comes to us from, I believe, Metro over in Cincinnati. So he's got a good planning background already, and he's ready to go and be out in the communities. But to your point, Mark, I think right now we really want to say, where are we? And then are we providing those services that the community wants, and in a timely and complete manner? But over time, the board may decide that we want to set actual specific metrics, and we'd be open to that. Yeah, thanks. Anybody else?
Blake was here greeting people as we came in. Hopefully you got a chance to meet him.
Can you switch to my PowerPoint? It's in the folder. Yep. I just have a couple more minutes, but I just want to highlight a few things. I don't have a clicker. Cool. Oh. Okay, so just a few things. Federal funding. The last couple of meetings, we've been concerned about the federal shutdown. We did have a good meeting in depth at the executive committee looking at our commodities program. That's really the only program left where there's some additional kind of concern. Just it's not a federal shutdown issue. It's some decreases that happen at the federal level before the shutdown actually. And so be looking for next month for some additional recommendations from the staff as we just continue to meet that need of food insecurity in our region. But feeling good about the direction moving forward. But otherwise, workforce, all aging, many of our other programs that rely on some component of federal funding, all those have now been restored and are functioning properly and as expected. So happy to have that. Kentucky General Assembly, they're about to be in session. Was just going to add that the Kentucky Council of Ads is taking the lead on developing a list of things that they, as the kind of advocacy body, if you don't know, every area development district has 2 representatives that go to the Council of Ads. Lisa Wilson-Plager is one of your 2 representatives, and then he's not here today, but Judge Field is the other one. And so the staff, the executive directors have been working on a recommendation to that group, and I think that the staff is planning on sending that out to the council probably any day now.
I was gonna ask you if we get to look at that beforehand. Had a few pictures that were incorrect last year, but that's for sure they did it.
Yeah, there's going to be 2 documents that they're going to be, or 2 types of documents. One will be just explaining the funding, things like home delivered meals, the grant, KPDI, things that really impact your communities that the ads help administer. There's also going to be some information sheets that they're creating for each one of our members of the General Assembly. That was the document that had some challenges last year, especially in urban areas where you've got multiple state representatives in one county. It got a little tricky, I think, but I think they've nailed that down, but ours aren't quite done yet. We would definitely want to review them before they get distributed. So, but anyway, more to come on that. Hopefully in January, I'll be able to give you a status report on how the General Assembly is going. From a regional standpoint, just want to note that we are a big part of the One NKADD strategic plan that's being developed for more of a Boone Canton Campbell footprint. But our SEDS has been called out as a key tool to help think of holistically about the economic development strategy for our region. So kind of proud to have that included and elevated in the region. We also have staff working on a market study and workforce supports, 2 different projects in the city of Carrollton. And we have community forums coming up. I've got that in the next slide, a couple of slides from now. Welcoming new staff, we'll kind of breeze through that, but IT, Clay keeps us moving, so very happy about that. We continue to focus on cybersecurity, and we have training that our staff undertake on a regular basis. You approved new windows, and those are coming soon. Couldn't happen fast enough as you hear the wind whistle through. It's quite cold in here in the winter. And we are very grateful to the board for approving new windows. Community development planning, just a couple of notes. Katie Jo did a great job talking about water and wastewater, but did want to highlight that we have received verbal confirmation that we received a grant from the Greater Cincinnati Foundation to fund ongoing work on a housing dashboard that would allow us to show progress from the 2023 housing data study. There were gaps identified in our housing inventory across the 8-county footprint, and this housing dashboard will allow us to dedicate staff to tracking how we're doing. So working with realtors, working with the NKY, working with Jamie, working with all those in our different communities, course, planning and zoning folks, building inspectors, et cetera, to really understand how are we doing at filling those gaps that were identified. So very excited and grateful to the Greater Cincinnati Foundation for that. Community forums, this will be our maybe last slide. I know we're out of time. Our strategic plan did call for more community engagement by ad staff, and we take that very seriously. And so over the last couple of years now, we've had meetings in your communities with board members. We've gone and met with each fiscal court and each city council or commission. And now taking that to the next level, we are starting to provide updates in community forum format, and then getting feedback from these community members of what are the key infrastructure or community projects most important to them. So we had one in Carroll County right before the snow hit, and I can't tell you how happy I was to see more than 50 community members present, despite that inclement weather coming literally like the next hour. But it was great. There was an asset and need exercise. There were small groups, and it really created, I think, an interesting dialogue that we think will help when grant applications are submitted to say, hey, this comes from a community forum that was held, you know, to really show grantors that we are focused on doing what our communities are wanting, not just what we like randomly come up with within these walls. So more to come on that. I'm going to skip the food insecurity dashboard. You guys have seen that. Here's our dates. So Carroll County's is finished. Gallatin County's is scheduled for January 13th. Owen County, still working on it, as well as Grant and Pendleton. If you guys want one in Boone Kent Campbell, let me know. I sort of feel like you have entities in Boone Kent Campbell that already do this. But if not, happy to partner and figure that out. And just super fast, we have a regional mobility stakeholder meeting. The next one will be also on January 13th. That's going to be a busy day, friends. So come and join us if you want to learn more about our mobility initiatives. Senior Games is coming up. So if you know of anybody who would want to participate, lots of good opportunities. And we're currently working on our next regional area plan for aging services. There'll be a public hearing on February 2nd, and then ultimately that plan will come to this board for approval. So if you haven't heard of it, we just had our big wrap party yesterday for Be a Santa to a Senior, and really so grateful to all those that contributed. And workforce is doing great. I'm going to stop because we're out of time, but thank you. Oh, and we had a ribbon cutting in Gallatin County. Very excited, Judge, about the new pharmacy, and hopefully it's serving the community really well. So it has a drive-through window, and it really looks fantastic. There's also a new procurement program, and the salary survey is open, so please contribute to that. Also, we've been doing executive searches, so if you have an opening, talk to Chris, and he can help you with that.
Time's up.
That's it.
Still on.
Excellent job. Thanks, Bill.
Take a question if anybody else.
Man, I should have called you 30 minutes ago. I'm
Yeah.
sorry, Bill.
Do we have any questions concerning any item that we've dealt with today or on Tara's report? Any other discussion or question? With that, other announcements of any kind? Well, I want to wish each and every one of you a Merry Christmas to you and your family, and happy holidays. And we wish you the best to all of our communities. Thank you for your service. Do I hear a motion to adjourn?
No move. Second.
Motion and the second to adjourn. All in favor of adjourning, say aye. All opposed? Merry Christmas. Thank you. We are adjourned.